So Dan, I'd love 4 or 5 of your top tips for the market.
Yeah, sure, okay. So I think from a selling perspective, I know obviously some sellers at the moment are a little bit concerned about bringing their property to the market and viewings and so on, but we do manage that whole process, and it's not necessarily something you should be overly concerned about. I would say that if you're at the point of putting it on the market and you're looking for an agent to instruct, I would suggest that you do use an agent that does professional photography and video and so on, just to capitalise on the audience that are online looking at your home, so that actually when it gets to the point of that viewing, you're not bringing around people that are sort of blind to what they're viewing. They've got a very good understanding of what's on offer before they even step foot in the front door.
Yeah, quite important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from a buyer's perspective, I would suggest that just get your ducks in a row. Possibly select a solicitor that you want to work with. Also have your mortgage finance or your financing sorted out. So if it is a mortgage, have an agreement in principle, so that you're in the market, you're waiting for that right one to come up. When you do view it and it is something that you want to sort of proceed with, you've got all the information there, because the estate agent's going to ask
So
you
that
for it.
reacting fast is still an important thing.
Yes.
If you've got your ducks in a row and you've got everything lined up, then you can proceed quickly if you want to, and if there's somebody else, if it's that absolutely desirable property, you're going to be as close to the top of the list as you possibly can.
Yeah,
it's never changed that really, has it?
No, it's always been that way. And the last thing really you want to be doing is finding the ideal property and then scrambling around trying to get all your ducks in a row and potentially losing it if there is other interest. I think the other tip I would suggest is to also, from a seller's standpoint, is to instruct an estate agent that is going to manage the whole process for you. So I know there's online agents and so on, but they are very much there to list a property and provide a listing service.
Amber bricks or something they're called, aren't they?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
something along those lines. And you need an agent that's going to manage that process from the starting point of presenting it perfectly, right the way through to the finish, and liaising with solicitors and just taking the stress away as much as possible, really, so that you get to the line of exchange and completion, and it's what everyone's after, basically.
Fabulous, brilliant. Thanks for those. That's really useful.
No problem at all. So, Steve, give me your top 3 tips.
Okay, well, I think from a technology standpoint, I think that what I'm seeing people emerging out of over the COVID crisis, I think the first tip is to go back to your plan. It's funny, you were talking about plan things out.
Yeah.
You're videoing and photography. You're doing stuff in a particular way. You're doing that because it's a regimented way of doing something. Plans are all about that. And in this crisis, people have gone out and they get to their home working. Some people are pretty comfortable with it because actually that's what they were able to do, and they already had it in their plan. Some people had to scrabble for that plan. And those people that scrabbled for the plan may not have the most ideal setups in what they're doing. And so talk to somebody about that. Talk to a technical organisation about what's the best way of doing those type of things. Is there a better way, a more efficient way, a more cost-effective way? Generally, when we're talking to people, we find that is exactly what's happening. Is that they can either save money, they can be more efficient, and there's less tools that they need to use to actually get exactly the job done that they want to do. Certainly that would be then my number 1. I think number 2 is actually a bit more on a personal note, and that is that make sure your staff understand what they need to do. We've all been forced into this brave new world of being in front of a screen. Some people hate that, some people love that. Make sure that the technology that they've got and give them the training and the time to adapt to be able to do what they did before, now in front of a screen virtually. Give them as many tools as you possibly can. I think that makes for a better workforce, and I think that also it becomes more efficient in terms of what the workforce is doing. And then lastly, and I do this all the time because I think it's absolutely crucial, is think about the security. Think about the things that you're now doing, wouldn't have considered doing before online, and are those things as safe as you possibly can? So if that's transferring files, if that's moving files between teams, if it's having team meetings, all of those type of things can be raided, broken into, stolen. Okay, the hackers, they know we're all doing this, and they know that there's a vast percentage of people not doing it as securely as they would need to, and for that reason they're actually targeting those type of people. So there are tools out there, they're inexpensive, some of those are embedded in some of the software that you purchase ubiquitously to actually do our jobs in this online world. Actually, what you have to do is make sure the things are turned on and they're in the right sequence. Again, take some advice on that, but don't, like you wouldn't advocate somebody leaving their door unlocked for somebody to come and have a look at. It's exactly the same thing. Don't leave your door unlocked. Get some security, get some advice, make sure that you're safe and secure online.
Sure, that's great.
My 3 top tips.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
So thanks for coming again, and really appreciate your top tips.
No, thank you, Steve. Thanks a lot.